Well, thanks very much to everyone for coming tonight, and welcome to the Bullpen. I'm sure many of you saw on your way through the front door, that is the name of our space. We had a naming contest. We had hundreds of entrants from the Big Duke community, and we settled on the Bullpen, which I think links well with downtown Durham, and something that we really want to do. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. I want to thank the people that made this possible, Phillips Architecture and all the folks there in Raleigh who designed this space, and then LaChase who brought that to fruition. And I'd especially like to thank Andrea Yakinovich on our staff, who really drove it from our end of things and is really the one who's responsible for all of this. It's an exciting space that we want to see, be in the middle of a really vibrant innovation district in downtown Durham. And I hope all of you will consider this space your space. Come and see us, come and use it. We'd love to find ways to help you and to have you in our space. I'd like, of course, to thank David in particular. It's been his support and his vision that's driven the innovation and the entrepreneurship initiative for the whole time, and so much else at Duke University. I think David's really been transformative. So thank you, David, very much for that. And I also want to thank Dick for his support and for his vision in helping us build the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Initiative at Duke. We wouldn't have it without Dick's vision and Dick's support. And so thank you, Dick. So I think Dick would like to say a few words.
I think Dick is about to say a few words. But maybe in the same thing. All right, my friends, I'm going to give you a tutorial on this building on which I have become a sudden expert. This building, the Imperial Building, was built in 1916 by the Imperial Tobacco Company. And I assumed that that must be one of the many branches of James B. Duke American Tobacco Company, but this is not true. In truth, James B. Duke went to England and bought a tobacco company, which was his way of throwing down the gauge and letting everybody in Britain know that he was going to take over the monopoly in England, at which point 3 small tobacco companies got together and formed something called the Imperial Tobacco Company. And they became quite a successful tobacco company too, and they went so far as to open a branch in the United States. They built their principal plant in Richmond, but then they came and built a building in the middle of Durham, North Carolina, like in your face. This was built, and this was the home of their many operations, but among other things, their research and development operations. So I like the idea of this being the home for this operation, because it's a building that has, it's great looking from the outside, but it has an edgy history, right? And I think that befits you, that it would be a place associated with innovation, disruption, crossing up other people's business, starting new lines of work. And another thing I will tell you is, you have all seen this building if you've seen the movie Bull Durham, because the downstairs was used to film, it was the locker room scenes were all filmed in this building. Fast forward a few years, so this building is just about 100 years old, and now it has a splendid new function. And I would just say the creation of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Initiative, which David started and launched, and which Kimberly Jenkins gave great initial leadership, and now Eric has given a great second generation of leadership. It's something that made an intuitive kind of sense when it was proposed. Lots of people at Duke did things that could be called innovative, and lots of people did things that could be called entrepreneurial, but there was nothing to stitch them together really, and nothing to stitch them together with the concept of Duke. But I must say, when you stop and think about it, everything about a university lines up with this initiative. It is not an extracurricular activity, it's a central activity. If you want to draw smart people and have them use their minds creatively rather than just dutifully, then you're going to be a place associated with innovation and entrepreneurship. If you want to hire faculty who want not just to publish a lot of papers, but make the kind of inventions that can be carried out into the world for human benefit, then you're going to be an entrepreneurial university. If you're going to talk about knowledge in service of society, knowledge doesn't serve society by exiting the heads of bright people and entering the world of human beings. Knowledge has to be translated into the means of commerce, the means of production, the means that actually carry it into successful successful life in the world. So that would be an important thing too. And if you're in a city that you know our health is so much tied to the city of Durham, and thanks to all the city fathers and mothers who are with us tonight, but you know, we see the growing of a new cultural moment and a new economic moment in the city, and that's tied to the new economy, not to the old economy. And so for the health of our environs, this is an important initiative. And so since it was launched, I'd have to say it was just like dropping a match into dry tinder. It just, everything caught on. Every year the level of activity goes from here to here, and then the next year it's gone from here to here. So I've now just spent much of my evening talking to people who are sophomores or juniors at this university, who've just launched their corporations or sprung their new ideas on the world because of one program or another. I've seen faculty members who have done important things that will benefit all of our health because of the kind of activity here. And the beauty of this space is, I mean, it's a great space. You did such a great job with it. But when you walk around, you can't say what any part of it is for. And that's another way of saying you can't say what any part of it is not for. It's a place that will be attractive to smart people, and when they get together, then we'll find out what happens there, right? Isn't that kind of what you have in mind? Absolutely. The Bullpen. I am pleased to be part of the opening of the Bullpen. Thank you, Eric. You've really done so much to carry this along. And David, you have really been the founder of this theme and have understood that it was a kind of latent feature of Duke's identity that needed to be made a more obvious feature. So will you say a few words too?
Thank you. For your support of this initiative. Obviously, if the President of the University is not supporting something, it's not going to go very far, and Dick from the beginning was very supportive of this. And Dick told me a while ago that he had the perfect person to head this up. And he introduced me to Eric, and I agree Eric has done a spectacular job. It's one thing to say, let's get this done. It's another thing to actually get it done. Eric, thank you very much for getting this done. It's a spectacular building and a spectacular setting, and I know we're going to do great things here. Let me just make two other points if I could. First, when I graduated from Duke in 1970, the idea that Duke would do anything in Durham was far-fetched. There were a few restaurants that people might go to, but that was about it. Durham has transformed itself, and Duke has helped in some ways. In recent years, Cindy has done a spectacular job of improving the relationship between Duke and Durham, and I want to thank you, Cindy, for doing that. And I'd like to thank the mayor. The mayor has done a spectacular job of bridging the gap between town and gown, and there are very few town and gown relationships in the world that I'm familiar with that are better than the Duke-Durham relationship, and the mayor, you deserve a lot of credit for that. Read, and maybe all of you have read, that the hottest Broadway play now is a play called Hamilton. And it is spectacular because it's done in hip-hop, and it's about a man named Alexander Hamilton, who was our first Secretary of Treasury. And the book was inspired by a work by a guy named Ron Chernow, who wrote a spectacular book on Alexander Hamilton, who was a brilliant founding father. And Alexander Hamilton, among the other great things he did, was to recognize at the beginning that this country is unique, but one of the things that's going to make it really special, he felt, was the ability for entrepreneurs to be able to have the ability to grow their ideas and make this country strong economically. And so while their other founding fathers did many terrific things, it was Alexander Hamilton who said, we need to let entrepreneurs do what entrepreneurs do. Build companies, grow companies, have ideas, grow them. And I think that's really been what made the United States so successful in many ways. We've been a country that has inspired entrepreneurs from the most famous ones in the late 1800s to the ones today, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and so forth. And we need to make sure that we continue to inspire these kinds of people to make sure that America produces the most innovative companies, employs the most talented people, and has the kinds of ideas the whole world wants to follow and be part of. And there are many different ways to do that. One way today is to have a facility like this, where Duke students and people who are part of the Duke community can come and say, I have an idea, I want to do something to make the world a better place, let's see if it works. Now, every idea won't work. Entrepreneurs don't work, everything that entrepreneurs want to do don't work. But sometimes they do, and sometimes they can lead to a Facebook or another company, Uber, or other companies that all of us are familiar with. So I hope that 5 years from today and 10 years from today, we will have many companies that will have succeeded because of this facility.
And the people who build those companies will no doubt be very, very prominent donors to Duke at some point. So there's a lot of construction going on at Duke right now, and we know all about that. And there's work being done at Cameron and Wallace Wade and other places. But no doubt, in time, the people who will be the biggest donors to Duke, I think, are the people who are going to do their work here. So while donations at Duke aren't the only thing in life, it may help you get to heaven more quickly, but it is something that we should respect, and we should recognize that the people who are really going to be the leaders of the financial community and the business community in our country have a very good chance of coming here and having worked here. So 5 years from today, 10 years from today, and beyond, I look forward to hearing and reading about and knowing the people that built this kind of thing into what we want it to be. So thank you all for your contribution to it. Thank you, Dick and Eric, and everyone else for coming. Thank you.
I can do this, I
We're
guess.
going to do this? This is not something you wanted to risk.
Do it.
All right, gather together. Don't get shy.
Don't get near me.
Don't be shy of the sharp scissors.
Right now.
One more. Success.